Hey, rad cats and cool kitties. My name is Lenny Graves, and I am a tarot card reader, an astrologer, a psychic medium, a magician, and demonologist. And I always say I do a lot of different things on my channel, and one of the things I actually do is I am actually also a reverend. Um, for reals, I've got a little thing you can hang on your car and a badge, so you can go. It doesn't really get to, but I guess it will get better parking. Um, but neither here or there. But what I was for a lot of years before I did various things which opened my mind and took me different perspectives is I was a very Christian individual. I was an evangelical Christian, so I know the Bible pretty well and all that kind of good stuff. And as I was woke up to the Bible, my friend who passed away recently always wanted me to do a series of videos where he said I had an interesting way of explaining the Bible to people because, well, you'll see in a moment. And what bothers me and the reason that I wanted to do this is your priest and your reverend and whoever, they know this. They went to seminary school. They're theologians. They've read the Bible backwards and forwards. They know exactly what the stories are. And knowing what they know, they continue to have people come to church and give them money. So I would like to open people up to that. And this is not information to go take and mess with your grandma on Thanksgiving. People sometimes need their beliefs. This is what the Bible says. If you ever want to get to somebody, don't go, well, your religion oppresses me and they burn witches and stuff like that. That's cliche. People already know that. Rip apart their own book. It's not that hard because it's all just stories. And they're really kind of fucked up stories. One of my favorite stories, and the one we're going to start out with in the series, and if you like this series, you'll want to comment and like and stuff like that because I don't know if this is something people really dig. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about the biblical patriarch Abraham. And one of my favorite stories they kind of glaze over in the Bible, it's Genesis chapter 12. So anything that I say, just go to Genesis chapter 12 and read it and step away and read between the lines and see what's implied there. And what we're going to talk about is how he got to the promised land and what he did on the way. And so if you don't know much about the Bible is, I guess the biblical patriarch would be Abraham. And he starts in the city. I think it's like it's in Samaria. And he's like a priest there, but he feels called by God. So he takes his wife, and Abraham's like 75, and his wife Sarah is like 65 at this point when they're called by God. And they decide to go to the promised land, right? But as they go across the desert, they have like adventures or whatever. But my favorite one is, so there's a famine that hits the land, and they have to go to Egypt. And because Egypt does pretty well in the ancient days, because it's Egypt, it's just how it is in the Bible. And when they get towards Egypt, this is in the Bible. This is the patriarch of all, like this is the seed that Christ will be born out of later. This dude turns to his wife, and basically, I'm going to put it in the New Testament English. When we get there, you're really hot. So people are probably just going to kill me and take you as a slave or whatever. So I have a better idea. Why don't we just say that you're my sister and you just go ahead and go and just fuck the shit out of the Pharaoh and he's going to give me a bunch of money. That's in the Bible. And so she does it. And sure enough, the Pharaoh sees her, and I guess for 65 old ladies, she's gilf. The Pharaoh is just into it. He's just into it. And sure enough, he fucks the shit out of, and this is implied in the Bible, but go ahead and read and tell me that's not what happened. And again, your priest knows this when they're doing the seminary. They've read the Bible enough that they get the implied passage. We're going to talk about the story a lot here in a second too. But back to Abraham. So basically, he's like kind of pimping his wife out, and he gets a bunch of shit. I think this is more into chapter 13, where he's going to get like oxes, gold, sheep, and stuff like that. And then also with the double of finding out, because apparently God finds out that Abraham's doing this, and rather than punish Abraham for lying and telling people his sister what the Pharaoh's doing, he punishes the Pharaoh because you're not supposed to be fucking people's wives. That's against that. There's a commandment against that, though that hadn't been written yet. So he punishes the Pharaoh. He put plagues on his house and shit like that. So the Pharaoh's like, take some more fucking money and get the fuck out of my house with your cursed wife. that you lying son of a bitch. And you know what Abraham does? He goes, fucking A. And he takes his money and his ox and his sheep and all that kind of shit because he was pimping his wife out to the Pharaoh. And he goes off to the promised land because the Lord decided a better way than just giving him the shit. Because remember, the Lord is the God of the universe. Not just like the whole fucking universe from the beginning to the end biblically. He knows everything in advance. He knew how it was going to happen. He's never wrong. He's infallible. This was the plan for his patriarch, the person that he is going to talk to pretty soon and tell him to do an unusual thing. But this is how he's going to have him get to Egypt. This is his plan. And God does this a couple times. We'll talk about the story of Jacob later on and how he basically steals his brother's inheritance by gluing goat hair on his arms. But we're not going to talk about that later. That's a different story. Like and subscribe if you comment if you want to hear these stories. So anyway, got Abraham. And he's pimping his wife out. That's just what he's doing. It is in the Bible. If you are a theologian or a devout person and you are mad at me, please, without fighting, because this is not about fighting, tell me that I'm saying is not true. Tell me that that's not true. That everything that I've just said is not in the Bible. Now, again, it's implied. It doesn't say it like I said it, but read it. It's like, I have so many pop culture references tonight. It's like if you ever watch Return of the Jedi as an adult, the implied rape of Princess Leia by Jabba the Hutt, and all of you, if you hadn't thought of that now, I've just ruined that movie for you, right? But it's there. And it's the same thing in the Bible. There is an implied, what do you think the Pharaoh's doing with Sarah in his house? They're not like knitting. They're not playing Uno. They're not fucking, they are. They're doing whatever. Yeah, the song goes swinging on the front porch. I'm gonna get smited, so I'm not gonna stop. But no, this is a story, and your priest knows this. So I'm gonna move on because I wanted to do two little stories, and this is just in the Bible. That's how that guy goes. That's how Abraham got all his money and got across Egypt to the Promised Land. He's pimped out his wife. So,